Let's talk about the youth angle now. Dmitry has given us a ring. Dmitry, what's your role then? Because you're a youth MP, aren't you?
Yeah, so I'm elected to be the Member of Youth Parliament for North West Hampshire, and I cover around 25,000 young people in Test Valley, Basingstoke and Deane and Newbury.
Okay, an interesting perspective then. We've been talking about this £2 billion Kickstarter Jobs Fund aimed at 16 to 24-year-olds on yes. universal credit. This must be welcome for you.
Oh, it is. And it really is a step in the right direction for all young people. It really is a good head start that the actual government is listening to young people and taking on board what they need. It has impacted all of us in many, many ways. It's impacted every house, every business, every school, everything. But it was simply a lack of, for me, the government actually listening to young people. Young people must have an actual voice in building back or whatever a new normal might look like. We must be consulted. We must be, we must be in the solution to this new Britain, whatever, the Prime Minister thinks a new Britain should look like.
I think you're right there. Listening to Wayne a moment ago, who was saying we're going to be paying this debt for a long time, and we've got £300 billion deficits this year so far. And I think arguably you are correct, because it will be your generation and future generations that will carry the debt of this for some time.
Exactly. And, we must, if we, like you say, in the end of the day, when all is said and done, it is our future. And should that burden to continue to be put forward into the future, we are going to be the ones who are in government trying to solve this government's problems, or whatever they might be. So we must right now have this opportunity to say, right, these are our priorities. This is what worries us. So when Boris Johnson, the first, few months of lockdown, he held daily press briefings. He held them for press, and all of a sudden members of the public were allowed to ask a question. They were allowed to raise their concerns, raise their worries about the coronavirus. But the only generation, what we call the forgotten generation, young people, were not allowed to ask questions simply because of their age, although a third party filtered them, a third party looked after them, and then handed it on that TV screen in 10 Downing Street, although young people were simply still denied the fact that we've also got worries, we've also got concerns, but simply we were not allowed to raise them.
What are your biggest concerns at the moment then, Dmitry?
My biggest concerns is that there's simply no doubt that young people are struggling with their mental health. Their mental health is such a big issue that not only the UK's Parliament has been looking over for almost a decade, but it's still not coming across. And lockdown has impacted that even further. Loneliness, isolation, that whole idea. Thankfully, lockdown is now easing and young people are starting to, communicate more and, be able to go hang out with their friends, even be it, socially distanced. But it's still quite hard, and young people's mental health will be seriously impacted as we head out into this new normal.
When we talk about the Kickstarter Jobs Fund, and obviously, yes, you said that you're very welcome to hear this. Does it go far enough? Is it helping the right section of the youth in this country?
It is looking at the higher end, 16 to 25, as you said. It's looking at the more adult, it's that those teenagers that are starting to become adults, starting to come into the real life, into a real environment. Now, young people I represent 11 to 18-year-olds in my constituency, so that upper bracket of those young people are being represented, are being heard now as they have this brand new £2 billion youth Kickstarter scheme. However, 11 to 15-year-olds, we are still not having that opportunity to actually, take some part of the government's funding of that new budget, as Rishi has started to unveil throughout this week. We're still missing in that kind of sense. We're still, My Life, My Say have been saying we are a forgotten generation. There was a recent report that they titled The Forgotten Generation, British Youth Perspective of COVID-19, and is spearheaded by My Life, My Say. And it revealed that actually, 73% of 18 to 24-year-olds in the UK believe that the coronavirus pandemic has had the biggest impact on them compared to any social, political or economic event in their whole lifetime. And, it further shows that 52% are actually concerned about their ability to save. A further 49% are concerned about their ability to buy a property. 42% are worried about losing their job. And it goes further. And this, hopefully, Youth Kickstarter scheme will actually help those, although be it £2 billion. And like you say, there is going to be a huge burden to pay in the next governments to come, because £30 billion, I must say, is a lot of money.
Dimitri, I hope you feel that we've listened to your voice today. We're always delighted to hear from you on BBC Radio Solent. Dimitri, who is a youth MP for North West Hampshire, saying young people aren't being listened to, the forgotten generation. Maybe you want to react to that. On all